right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the wonderful Kathy. How are you today?
I'm doing amazing, Ryan, and I'm really truly honored that you have invited me, and you were very, very helpful to me in the past with the command, and you really helped me out a lot. So I appreciate it.
That's my pleasure. I'm excited to get to hang out with you and rub elbows with you because we all learn from each other, right?
Yep. Wouldn't it be funny if I was here to teach people how to use command?
I'm sure you actually probably could do very, very well. I think you're very proficient in there. Are you a master? Well, none of us are a master. I don't think I'm a master either. I know more than some. So what do you feel like got you to today?
So really, diving in and doing the things that we learn at Keller Williams. And I think there's a lot of real estate companies out there. However, Keller Williams really has a lot of tools that, resonate with what I want to do and where I'm headed.
And what exactly is that? What is it you want to do?
So yeah, I want to build a meaningful business and empower people around me, and provide wealth and opportunity. So I can go to Minnesota and sit by a lake.
Life worth living.
That's right. Life by design.
Exactly. So to get there, you had to start from somewhere. So where did you start?
Yeah, so I came from the hospitality restaurant management industry. I was there about 25 years. And towards the end of my restaurant nightclub career, I was bartending, and one of my customers said, "Hey, you do really great in real estate." And I had the drunk monkey, that's a bold term, talking to me and saying, "Oh no, this is a bad time. It's 2007, the sky's falling." So I kept putting off my real estate dream. And finally in 2014, I just said, I got to do this, and I got to go all in.
You knocked that drunk monkey off your shoulder?
Yeah. Yeah. And she was right. I'm pretty good at this.
So when you started out, what is it you did when you first started out? Is it anything like what you do now?
Tons of education. I went to all the classes 2 and 3 times, and really just did the things. Started a database and all these things. I'm not born with that chip. My age group isn't really great. I mean, I learned all kinds of, tech terms that I never knew before. I didn't know how to do an email campaign. So I found a way to do these things, and I started very small and just grew, and again, I repeat, routine. And I tell people the routine can seem very, very boring. However, when I saw Gary Keller speak about, I would say it was about 4 or 5 years ago at a family reunion, and Gary says, "You can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years." And it's pretty powerful. Those words really stuck with me. So I kept doing the things, and eventually, for me, it was a long distance run. There was no sprint. This is not something that happened overnight.
Yeah, I think a lot of us that get started, they expect like instant results. They expect to be doing a 40 real quick, and it's not a 40. It's definitely a 5 mile.
Yeah,
it's not even a 3 mile. It's a 5 mile for sure. That's that 5 years. So you started at the very beginning, and one of the blessings at Keller Williams is the fact that we've got so much. There's just, unfortunately, sometimes it's too much. How did you get through that clutter of too much and really hone in on what got you to today? I mean, as far as what you do to lead generate.
Yeah, so I listen to, top agents in the market center, and, back in, I mean, the opportunities that we have now just in the past 2 years with the pandemic and in virtual trainings, that has made such a difference. I mean, when I was old school back in 2014, we were in a basement every day taking Ignite and, constantly learning. And I just chunked it down. Bold was a turning point for me. And that was really powerful to, get involved. And Patricia, she's going to be on. I call her Patty Cakes. She is amazing at the door knocking, and, we did all the stuff. And I actually door knocked with Pat Cruz. So it's just doing the things, and you can't just show up and here I am at a $3.8 million listing. There are definitely steps to take. Database.
What I want to do is I want to back up just a second, because I went kind of fast forwarded a little bit. Can you tell everybody, we know you're Kathy Hidy, but can you tell us a little bit about who you are as far as agent? Like, what are your numbers? What is your production?
Sure. So
You don't have to be exact. I don't need to.
yeah. So when I started in 2014, the first half of the year, I was still in my business. So imagine, I want to say the first portion of the year was $7,000. We'll forget GCI and units. So that gives you an idea. And then I really kicked it up a notch, and then I became the rookie of the year. And I'm sorry I don't know those numbers. But I figured it out, and I worked fast to get there. Now the current numbers, 2020, I ended the year with 11 million GCI, and 2021, well, in the MLS is 40 million. So with Keller Williams and our model, 37 million.
I know I'd love to do 37 million.
Yeah.
So what's your goal for this year?
So my goal for this year isn't necessarily surrounded by numbers. I mean, it's always in the numbers. I want to back up a step. I want to work in my business. I've just brought in somebody who I feel is very talented, and her name is Liz, and we're working with her on, buyers, and she's working as a showing agent. So I'm really, really focused on working in the business, and to be able to catapult, for 2023. And that also is going to include onboarding a full-time assistant, and taking a deep breath, and a coach.
Yeah.
That's a big step.
Well, you've had one for the past couple of years, right? Indirectly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's time to go with the real estate model versus a basketball coach.
Yeah, you've kind of had the past couple of years. You've been very involved in Pivot Shift Ahead, right?
Very involved, and it's been a game changer for my business. Getting into routine and community, and just being, having a purpose. And I've been on since March of 2020. And it's amazing to think that we've been in this pandemic for 2 years. Wow.
Yeah. Yep. And you've been in that 2 years as a single agent. You did $37 million. Now you're looking to be a team, right? So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
when what got you to $37 million? What was your lead gen method? How did you do that?
Yeah, so I get out in the community. I'm a dirt farmer, and I just whatever I'm interested in, I implement that. Um, I never say no to anything. One of my customers is a politician, and she asked me. I sold her a house, and she asked me to be on the board of directors of the Parks and Recs. I love parks. I love sports. That was a no-brainer for me, and that's opened up a lot of doors. So I know Gary Keller says real estate is a what does he say? It's
Contact sport.
a what?
The contact sport.
Contact sport. Yeah. So for me, networking is a contact sport on steroids. Just massive, massive networking. I'm with my local Miami Coconut Grove board of directors with the chamber. I'm just, I'm out in the community. I'm, sponsoring one of the high school's volleyball teams, the boys volleyball team, and anywhere I can help out. And I'm truly passionate about it. This isn't something that I set up. I want to go and, make money. It's passion and coming from a place of a contribution. And it's pretty amazing when you do help people without, expecting anything in return, what comes back. The ROI is incredible. And neighbors are watching. They're watching. They see what you're doing, and and it comes back. And that's my goal, is to create something special and unique.
So basically, the way you got there is by following your passions, doing something you love, being
Right.
involved in being hyper local and being involved in your neighborhood, right?
Absolutely.
So as we go, Kathy, because I know you've got you sent me a bunch of slides you wanted me to go through, so feel free to interject if you want me to pull something up. I'll be happy to pull it up. Okay.
Yeah, I think it just tells a story of what we've done, and just being able to quickly adapt with a pandemic, because there was no playbook for this. And all of a sudden here we are in a pandemic. And what was really great in that, chaos creates opportunity. What was amazing, though, anybody coming into real estate in their first year is 2020, it's a level playing field. That's how I felt. So I've noticed that there's been some really amazing new rookies who have come up in our business, and it's just exciting. It's exciting to watch the new kids.
Yeah. So you want to talk about any of the things that you're proud of that you've done this past year to get your business where it is?
So happy to. I would say one of the biggest things that we did was listing and listing and selling a church. Basically, we flipped a church in my neighborhood, and that was really a big deal for my marketing, and for the community, and just the fact I'm in a community that they're really strong on the trees, and there's a lot of new construction, and it was just really great to be able to be involved with this commercial sale and keep the structure. So you're basically, taking care of the community, because it was one of the biggest discussions. I would see people out in my village, in my community, and that, what's happening to the church? And so it was great to be able to say, tranquilo, the church is going to stay. They're going to do a little remodeling. So that was a big deal. I went back to basics. My business really exploded in the dog park when I first started in 2014. And during the pandemic, we actually brought the dog park to our front yard. And that was huge. I thought of doing a sign because we were all emotional about, the healthcare workers and just really excited what they were doing here. Yeah, here's Mary. So she's sitting outside my little lead generator. Do you want to buy a house? People walk by and they see that, and it creates a conversation. So, in a way, this is a reverse fold 100, just, sitting outside with the dogs. And we would invite people in as they're walking by. We're on a corner, which makes it really ideal. And it was awesome. So I had a big, huge banner, and it said something like, thank you to all the healthcare workers, and people would come by. We call it the living room, new neighbors. It was just amazing. And then yeah.
All right. So is it okay if I go ahead and go through some of these slides?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, this is just, using the dogs for marketing. 99.5% of the world can appreciate a goofy looking dog. And my kids are, they're characters. So we just, this is just, marketing. It's what I'm passionate about. And, we work it into the website. This is a Thanksgiving. I mean, this is the most popular dog in the neighborhood, Phoenix. So I love him very much. And I also have utilized him in some of my marketing. He's amazing. This dog can play volleyball, and he rides around in my golf cart. And again, these are things that people really, in my community, they embrace, or they laugh. And if they're laughing at me, that's okay, as long as they give me business.
You want to talk about your logo there and your golf cart? We don't want to pass that by. I mean, there's some good branding right there.
Yeah,
It's on your shirt too.
It's fun. Yes. When you're starting, you're trying to, figure out, you've got all these things coming at you. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. And it just, sometimes your niche finds you. And, my very first deal was a woman with a rental. Imagine back then, she needed a $1,300 rental. She had 5 dogs. Nobody would help her. And I'm like, I'm going to persevere. I am going to find this woman and her 5 dogs a property. And so that niche just kind of found me. And somebody did tell me, another agent said, that's such a stupid idea. People are, you're not selling dogs. And of course I'm not selling dogs. I'm selling real estate. It's a logo, and it seems to work. And I've tried to, when I've probably 5 years ago, I got into our Keller Williams Luxury International, and I was kind of pulling away from the dog logo and the dog theme. And I have a lot of very influential, wealthy people say the dog logo is amazing. So anyway, dog logo stays. Yeah, and that's the head of one of my big heads. We went through copyright and everything. So again, just marketing, at the new year, we'll throw up some, pet safety, and all this stuff gets a lot of attention.
Is this a card you sent out?
Yeah, this is a campaign that we'll send out, or with the Snapgram.
Okay.
I'm quoting James Shaw now. He calls everything the Snapgram, either Instagram or Facebook. And again,
Yep.
all these things that I'm talking about, I was not very familiar with the social media. And again, advice I could give to people when you're out there taking a picture, just put it on. It's never going to be perfect. And when I'm doing the live videos, I mean, sometimes the camera's all messed up. It's better done than perfect. That's all I can say. And people love it. You know, it's the imperfect you. This is one of my friends. She's walking by with her dogs on a new listing. I invite them in, and you know, it's just a great thing to post. You know, it looks like Miami. It looks like fun. It's a beautiful pool, and they're all just standing there in the pool. It's hilarious.
Like I said, just take a picture, just post it, show your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, so here's the living room. And these are, you can tell it's a hot day because Emma's got a fan on her. And, you know, we're just hanging out, shooting the breeze. And, you know, real estate just naturally kind of comes up. And I'm at a point now where it's very authentic, and let it happen naturally. And what I've learned is to create conversations. Here's Mr. C. This is this is the Cipriani family. They opened a real fancy hotel and restaurant in Coconut Grove. And of course I had to bring Mary, and she has a very fancy scarf. You know, it's a fancy place, fancy scarf. And, you know, it's just more marketing.
How old is Mary?
Oh, she's an old lady now. She's 11.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's wearing that scarf right though.
She's a sassy girl. And by the way, she's really smart because she's read the MREA. This is my very first sign, and I had a picture with my little one, Emma. And again, listening to the drunk monkey, people saying, get rid of the dog. So I did change my signs, and I'm thinking about going back to the basics. I might do some new signs with the dog thing.
In my area, there's a lady, her last name is Dorita. So she always put Doritos in her pictures with her. You know what? It makes it stick in your mind.
Yeah, and that's what you want. Bottom line, you want to be top of mind to people. And that is, you know, it's a massive successful strategy. One of the puppies in the neighborhood, good old Winston. And again, I'll put this on the Snapgram, and I'll tag the, you know, the sellers, the owners of the sellers. I hopefully they're going to be sellers. I'll tag them on Facebook, and again, top of mind.
Is that one of yours on your shirt?
No, but it looks like them.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm always wearing the Keller Williams gear, and, you know, hanging out with the dogs. This is in our dog park. And again, just more media marketing.
Great timing on the picture. Long tongue.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the church. And in 2020, my wife and I had been talking about getting a new car. And we can afford a new car. With the rising prices, we we compromised on a golf cart. So I always wanted one, and I'm in a community that is golf cart approved. And so that was the compromise, although I wanted the nice new fancy car. But let me tell you, it's been huge, especially for my uber wealthy clients. I don't know, I guess it's just a gimmick, you know. They could care less if I show up in a real fancy Porsche or, Tesla, but pulling up in this, it was gold. So it's been fun.
Don't forget that platform in the back.
Absolutely. And we purposely got the extra seats because, we'll put kids in the back and, we duct tape them in the back and make sure they don't fall out. And it's great. We ride around the neighborhood at the holidays. We decorate, we have lights. We have a little association in our community, and they'll call me and they'll say, hey, can we, go around the neighborhood at Halloween and judge. And of course, these are all things that this is just like very hyper local farming and marketing. And people love it. Clients, they love to go around. Here we are. We grew one. I think this is Chelsea in the picture, and this is our mini dog park. We bring the people to us. This is a great picture. This is the Fontainebleau. Hurricane Irma. We had no power, and so basically a lot of people moved to South Beach, and we brought the dogs to the gym. And this little one, Emma, she's a clown, and the spa director loved it, and it just created business. So I stayed in touch with this director from the Fontainebleau, nice fancy hotel. So just things like this, you just never know what's going to come up. This is an open house. She would just stand there like a statue, and people would come in, and they just, they enjoy it. Now, I'm not always going to have the dogs. This is one of my favorites. This particular house has probably netted, I don't even know, $20 million in sales. So this little teeny tiny skinny house in Coconut Grove has been an unusual gold mine. You just never know.
Why is that? What did you do anything special there?
A lot of open houses. Yeah, we were
at the open houses.
Yep. Oh, open houses are huge because you never know what you can expect. And
I'll bring it over.
So do you ever have any problems with people coming to your open house? Hold on.
Yeah, because it's not an office.
Can you mute them, please? Kathy, so when you're at the open house, do you ever have people get upset and say, well, is that dog gonna bite me, or be really worried about that?
Say it again. What about the open house?
Do you ever have issues at the open houses with people being afraid of the dogs or getting upset because the dogs are there?
No. So this is an after picture. And this particular customer loved dogs. She had a cute little Labradoodle. So again, we really connected. And this woman, I met her like when I first started, and I gave her my card, and literally 5 years later, she called me and she said, oh, do you remember meeting me in the dog park? This is a true story. So just from going to the dog park and, networking and talking to people, that was a big surprise. And she did end up interviewing 3 people. And we do have, at the time, we had somebody in the neighborhood who dominated the neighborhood. They had at least 50% market share. So this house was huge. And no, I don't take the dogs into the open house all the time.
So you said somebody dominated that neighborhood. What does that look like now?
Well, not so much. We kind of go back and forth between listings, and right now, definitely, we have more signs up in the neighborhood. We have more business, 100%.
Good job.
Obviously, thank you. I appreciate that. very grateful.
I know
Uh,
any realtor I talk to, one of the biggest things, you don't want to see other people's signs in your own neighborhood.
Yeah, oh yeah, let me tell you, I just experienced that. So, and it's failing forward. I just, we don't want to use the words lost or lose. And unfortunately, somebody else had the opportunity. And that's okay. Because yesterday I won a big one, and with wonderful people, lovely, going to be lovely to work with. So we're back on track, and we just, as Gary says, onward. We can't look in the rearview mirror. We can only learn from it.
So this is your front yard dog park, right? So you just got
Yeah,
everybody jumping in.
This is the height of COVID, and this is, yeah, all kinds of dogs in here, and people chatting, people walking by, a little bit of libation, wine and cheese, and all these things were, came from our heart, and it's not just me, it's Cindy as well, my wife. She's actively involved. She enjoys networking. She's a retired basketball coach, so she loves to be outside, and it was just a natural opportunity to network. And this is at the height of COVID, and I think everybody kind of had their circle. And we started off with the chairs, of course, like at 10 feet apart, but it really created a community for people. And we got the kids to come outside, and I love sports, so I was, helping the kids with basketball and tennis, and it was really a special time. The parks were closed down. We created pickleball in the street. So again, none of these things are a stretch for me. These are things that I love to do.
Yeah.
I love to host. I love to give, people wine.
See if I can make this a little bigger.
Yeah, that's the sign. Yeah, thank you to all the healthcare workers. We appreciate you. And just a note from us on what I did here, which is kind of interesting. I took pictures. I got as professional of a photo as possible. We've learned that from our homes. We always want the best quality photos. And we put pictures of the neighborhood dogs on the big sign.
Mhm.
And so those neighbors, they became like the cheerleaders for me, meaning I was always top of mind because people are on the corner, they're walking their dogs by, or they're walking by, and they're constantly, oh yeah, Kathy, neighborhood realtor, yeah. So,
They're
we
excited
know,
to see their pets on there too.
yeah. Oh, that's incredible. And don't get me wrong, I just want people to know that, we love our neighborhood human children as well. I mean, we have a big, care for them. We have, so.
Heidi, this is brilliant because I mean, you're branding yourself every day. It's right there.
Yeah.
You didn't have to put a real estate sign in your yard. I mean, it is a real estate sign, but it's not a for sale sign.
Right. And we're thanking the healthcare workers, and and things were really, really tight. And we kept that up for a year because
Appreciation
remember,
marketing, right?
yes. And it's crazy. Our OP Claudia, she came by, we took pictures. I should have the pictures with the famous Claudia Restrepo. But yeah, I mean, people would come by and just take pictures in front of the sign, and then they started putting up their own signs. And I got the idea just walking through the neighborhood because I saw one of the kids. We have a lot of artists in our neighborhood. It's we got a great vibe, and it's very eclectic. And I saw one of the kids had made a sign, saying thank you. And to be honest, their sign was better. It's just, it was hand done, but I got the idea. And then other people started, doing a sign and, and then we just got the neighborhood involved with all kinds of different activities. And we get phone calls. People want to, set up, like for the local association, they want to set up in front of our yard. So it's just very hyper local. If you have a property in a great neighborhood, this is exactly what you want to do. And then during COVID, Cindy started a hair business, making $0. And so the neighbors would come in and get their hair done. So we just, whatever came up, we were involved with the neighborhood. Art Basel, I'm sure everyone's heard about Art Basel. This was a big successful piece. This is Carmen Miranda with a cute little beret.
That's cute.
So yeah, stay a while. Not a great picture, but that was a ALC book. That was motivation for Kathy to do well at the ALC clinic.
Yeah. Aw.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I struggled with the whole self-promoting, so it was easier for me to put these awards on them, and it worked. But let me tell you, I've learned that in this business, you do need to self-promote, and it was easier for me to hire somebody to do the postings, because that way it's out of my hands. But if anybody's going through that, I did this, I did that, just, leverage yourself and get somebody to do it for you, because it'll definitely feel different. You need to do it. You got to do this social media marketing.
You had a video you wanted to show too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's 1 minute. If
Okay.
you have time, it's up to you. Just
Got me.
Booking a family
Hold on.
vacation in
How
the
do I get out
Vrbo
of
means
this?
leaving all the craziness behind. Well, maybe not.
See if I can.
that cool Miami music. We're so cool. Hey now.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Hidy and welcome to my neighborhood. Today we are presenting my brand new listing, 2791 Kirk Street, and we are close by at the very famous Kapok tree. And meet my good friend, my niece, this is Addie. This charming mango casita sits on the corner of some of the most amazing real estate in North Coconut Grove. Just minutes away from Kennedy Park, Phoenix Volleyball, marinas, Coconut Grove Sailing Club, the finest schools, and brand new Cocoa Walk. So please give us a call for a private tour. Right, Addie? We'd be happy to show you our neighborhood.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and that was, well, we're still in COVID. We keep changing the time on videos, and maybe you can answer this question, Ryan. I guess the kids get bored after, I guess in the beginning of COVID, we could do longer videos, and now the time span is under 60 seconds.
Almost daily, it shortens and shortens and shortens. Most of the time, if you can keep it between 30 to 45 seconds, your best. But you did a good job there. I think that was perfect. You got your point across.
Thank
Main
you.
thing is you put yourself out there, and you are being hyper local. which is very, very important. We've been talking about that for quite a while, is being hyper local, knowing your neighborhood. And that's the kind of marketing you do, and that's what works for you because you're naturally good at it. You enjoy it. I think that's the key, is doing something you enjoy, doing something you love and you're passionate about. And that's obvious through the pictures we just looked at for a while.
Yeah.
We're getting real close on time here, and I was hoping to give everybody time to ask questions. So if you need to go to the bathroom and leave, I understand. If you need to go, we're going to be starting again here at 10 o'clock. But if anybody has some questions and they want to go ahead and put them up, I have been able to watch the chat. So any of my market center technicians want to bring it to my attention, we can answer some of the questions. If not, please go ahead and raise your hand and we'll let you ask Heidi some questions. Mr. Ariel, go for it.
Hello, Kathy. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So I did have just a couple questions for you, and thank you for sharing. I mean, I got a lot of tons of ideas. I'm not even I don't even like dogs, and I'm reconsidering it now. But it was great. Thank you so much for sharing. I do have a couple of questions in reference to, okay, you've built the relationship with the community, right? And I'm sure it wasn't overnight. Right. It was during a long period of time. You mentioned during COVID and everything. So now the community knows who you are, right? But in the beginning, when you were trying to build that relationship, I mean, you still had to do business. You still had to eat, right? So how did you manage to still get listings while you were building that relationship with them, right? Whether you went to a dog park or whether your house was a dog park or anything like that. Like, what did you tell them? What did you do? What was your strategy to actually get the listings around the neighborhood or others? And then how did you follow up with the ones that said maybe?
Sure, and great question, Ariel. Thank you. There'd be times that I was just door knocking, and it's July, and I'm sweating, and I remember being at a house in the neighborhood, and I just said, "Listen, I've been in the neighborhood for 25 years. I have an excellent reputation, and I don't have anything. I don't have any listings, and you're going to get me. You're going to get 100% of me. I'm going to be there all the way." And that was one of the first big listings. And it grew from there, and from, really literally sweating and, and maybe knocking on 200 doors. It's just being, you gotta have the grit if you want to achieve a certain level. And it's okay. It's okay. Like James Shaw, coach, he says, it's okay. You can be right here. Be happy. The number one thing is be happy what you're doing. So I hope that helps, Ariel.
Yeah. And so my follow-up question was, how do you follow up, right? With the maybes or the ones that were like, yeah, but maybe in 6 months or in a year, or I'm not sure. So what follow-up system do you use so that you can get the listing?
Sure. So on the MailChimp, I have a campaign just for my neighborhood. So, they're on a mail drip, and, it's a follow-up with a phone call, a text. I guess it's something like a 33 touch, nurturing and staying in contact. And I have had some really successful business with the follow-up and then the follow back. So, and I do need a better system. There's no doubt, because I think we all have, opportunities that we're missing.
If you had to go back and start all over, where would you put all your energy?
Database, databank.
Databank. So talk to your contacts. And who would you put into your contacts?
I mean, everybody. This is a stack of cards that need to go in. It's everyone. It's vendors, people that I met at a chamber event the other night. And if I had to go back, although I was completely broke. I even had the paperwork to short sale my house. So I would have found some leverage and somebody to help me with that, because again, I didn't have the chip. So it was very difficult for me. I learned it was something that just wasn't natural, like how to create a campaign. I would have gone back and found a way to implement that.
All right, Brandon Long had asked, how long did it take for you to increase your market share? So kind of going back to that lady who dominated the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Now you've kind of penetrated that neighborhood. So how long did it really take you before your name started taking a hold in that neighborhood?
2017.
So about 4 years.
Yeah, 2017.
Awesome. Ariel has another question.
So Kathy, out of all the different strategies that you've had, right, with the dogs, the chambers, the volleyball, and everything, what would you say has been the most effective for you, or that has brought the most business, and why?
Open houses
Okay.
have been epic, and it's if you think of it, LaKayla on our pivot call, she calls it a party, and she's right. You know, you're inviting people. You know, you should have water and drinks for them, and you're really on stage. A lot of times, sellers, especially in this market, they're peeking in. They want to see what is she doing. So you're always on stage interviewing for that position. That's the way I look at it. So you want to create energy, and we should do the 7 steps to an open house. And I'm guilty of not implementing that, the past year. Open houses are really, really key.
Awesome.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
am I missing a question, follow up? I'm sorry, Earl.
Nope, you did great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, if there's not anybody else, and we're gonna let everybody go take a break real quick. Anybody else want to go? 3, 2. All right, Kathy, I love you. You're amazing. I appreciate you coming on and spending time with us this morning and letting us pick your brain and sharing your photos. It was awesome.
If anybody wants to follow up and have a conversation, I'm really, really, Kathy cares. Okay. So feel free to call me. And if I can help anybody in any way, I'd be happy to.
You're very humble and you're very easy to talk to, and I appreciate it. Makes it very nice to sit down and have a conversation with you. So everybody, you would be a fool not to take advantage of that.